Jack Socks.
I didn't realize Wolfner was streaming the entire conversation.
Hey.
I muted myself last time for you guys. This time I muted myself for the actual stream. Awesome. Hey everybody, welcome to Hearthcenter. This is week 2. We've got a ton of stuff to cover for you this week. We have some actual series underway besides just one. We've got a jam-packed show, and to start it off, as always, up to your top left, we have the legend. You know he carried Eddie. You know he carries the show. It's Diamond. How's it going, Diamond?
Going well. Thanks for once again repeating that I did carry Eddie. Yes.
Every time.
The other way around.
Every time. Yes. We will never let this die.
Uh,
And underneath Diamond, we have, as always on the show, it's the OG from THL way back in the day. It's THL Leumer. How you doing, Leumer?
I'm doing fantastic. Really upset that you did not read out my edit on stream. I apologize. But I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to be here. Excited for a good episode of Hearthcenter.
I considered it, Leumer.
Yeah, at least you thought about it. That's all I want.
All right, and up to my top right, I don't know what kind of crazy mistake I have made this week, but I have simultaneously my favorite and my least favorite idiot. It is THL's resident Battlegrounds god. It's BrushyTuna. How we doing, Tuna?
Fantastic, Ron. Just streamed for about 8 hours, still living up on that high there. But, glad to be here for Hearthcenter. First time and probably only time I'll be here. Because Ron will probably never let me back. But, excited to be here, Ron. Excited to be here.
Glad to hear it. And below BrushyTuna, we have, as always, it is our main man, Kobold Sticky Finger. My bad. Let me check my notes here. LotusKnight. LotusKnight. Welcome, LotusKnight. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward for the last time Tuna is in this stream.
Nice.
There we go.
First and last. Here's hoping.
To be fair to Lotus, he had to deal with me every week for Hearthcenter last season. So it is fair to Lotus that
I will say it was a blast. It was a blast. Every week is fun.
All right, awesome. I, of course, am your host, RonMexico, and I'm RonMexico? And I'm going to jump us right into a whole lot of stuff, starting off with the Community Champions event. So we had a really fun little event here over the weekend. We had a community come together, 8 different organizations represented. We had a standard tournament, we had a Battlegrounds tournament, and we had some incredible help from people from THL helping out to actually do the English portion of the casting. So we would be completely remiss if we did not give a big, big thank you to Agent PWE, to Marty B, to our very own on this stream, LotusKnight, for doing a portion of that cast. Also for the Battlegrounds portion, we had Saku, the legend himself. We had Dragon Rider, and we had Based Inc. Really fantastic job from that crew over those 2 days. So happy and thrilled that you guys were able to help make this such a fun event. Starting off with the standard tournament, congratulations to Snake Fots. You don't see that in the graphic. I'm there at number 4. Got knocked out by Ego to be 3rd and not get a spot on the graphic. This is fine. Who's bitter? And
sounds like you, Ron. I'm just spitballing here.
And of course, our Battlegrounds portion. I gotta choke back some bile here real quick before I introduce this. BrushyTuna himself actually taking down the victory for THL. So with my 4th and BrushyTuna's 1st, that also made THL the overall winner in Hearthstone Community Champions.
Yeah!
So congrats to you, THL. Glad that we could go out there and represent, and fortunately, Uncle Tuna brings it home.
Don't worry, THL. I'm gonna have a cheer. I'm gonna have a cheer for next week set up for THL. We'll be
nice. Don't worry, THL. Your uncle is always here to support you, and the real Batman, not that fake Batman crap that RonMexico thought he was. Coming in clutch since someone couldn't top 3 the standard event.
This is where I need to cut Tuna's mic, I think.
Yep.
Hey,
I'll cut it for you.
Point out, look at all the THL names up there that weweren't even representing THL.
But yeah, I mean,
We got-
SnakeFods plays in THL, repping MPH, but took first, you know?
Yeah, Itachi, Ego Waffle, like all these names are people who have been in THL. Itachi for a long time, and then SnakeFods and Ego Waffle we've also seen. So a lot of intermingling of the communities, which is really great to see when we've got such an awesome community to show to everyone.
Oh, yeah. So thank you again, everybody who participated, everybody who tuned in. It was an absolute blast, and hopefully this is something that might be able to come up again in the future.
Yeah, can you just do me a favor, Ron, if this happens again? Can you make it not so hard to carry you next time? My back's still recovering from this past Sunday. I had to see your chiropractor today.
All right. With that, we'll move on. We're gonna jump right into the hero meta report from this last week. This is the one with the most data that we have. Obviously, half of this data is pre-nerf, but post-nerf, which we can see in the last week portion, you know, we've got a lot of different brings here. The most common lineup being brought: Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior, with the winningest lineup being Demon Hunter, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. So what do you guys make of this? I'll start with our hero expert here, Leumer.
So I was one of the people who brought the Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. I think it was the strongest looking lineup off the bat. Just from a face level, all of these classes are very strong. All of these classes perform in one way or another. I think Paladin was the fourth class for a lot of people with the Rogue, Shaman, Warrior core. Shaman has come out as a huge over-the-top deck for laddering specifically, and had a really high win rate on ladder going into this week. So I think that deck was the target of a lot of people in a lot of people's minds, that they were going to have to ban it or beat it. So I think that was the lineup that made sense to have the most representation. However, did not have the highest win rate of the week, and that's actually significant because the second highest or brought lineup was Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior, which had only a 10 frequency instead of 19, but did have 60% win rate over the course of the week. So the players that brought that Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior lineup and decided to forego the Paladin ended up winning more than the people that brought the Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. So that's
true. And actually an interesting point there with how overall match win rate relates to game win rate, because the winningest lineup game win rate wise was the Demon Hunter, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior, like I mentioned, but Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior actually the highest match win rate. So could be some extra things to dive into there. Maybe Priest is the way to go. I know Lotus can probably tell us a little bit about that. I had a brutal hero match on stream against LotusKnight. Priest did pretty solid. I think it was one specific card on turn 5 though that was the best one.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a rock paper scissors effect happening with Priest, Paladin, and Demon Hunter here, that really almost every lineup had Shaman, Rogue, and Warrior. It was just a thing. You would submit these, and then you would rock paper scissors, choose if you want to go for Paladin. Paladin beats Demon Hunter. Choose whether you want to go for Priest. Priest beats Paladin, or choose whether you want to go for Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, as long as you don't have a Lucia, beats Priest. So there was a lot of this rock paper scissors effect, and I think you can see this in the hero meta, and you can especially see it in the legacy meta.
Absolutely, and we will be getting to the legacy meta report as well once we dive into our legacy section.
One more thing to note real quick while we're still on the section. So overall, we've got the 36 Demon Hunter bans overall between last week and this week, and we're already up to 33 Shaman bans. Shaman was not the most relevant class in the. That tells you that people did not want to play against Shaman this week. It is already almost caught up to the almost universal ban of Demon Hunter the week prior. So that's also important to note, is that Shaman is looking very strong if we don't see any nerfs in the future.
Very good point. The meta has shifted to you need to figure out what you're doing about Shaman. A lot of times it is just a ban like it was last week with Demon Hunter as the ban. Demon Hunter gets hit with a bunch of nerfs, all of a sudden Shaman is getting banned en masse. So we will see, but if there are no changes to the meta going forward as far as nerfs or buffs are concerned, we're probably seeing a whole lot more Shaman bans as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Shaman's just one of those classes that even if like when you're quote unquote favored into, they can just high roll their way into victory. So it's just tough to like leave it up because they're like, oh no, I'll get under them and beat them, and then they'll roll like 7 taunts against your aggro deck, and you're just like, well, all right then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the answer is run Sticky Finger and make sure you draw it at the right time.
Yeah.
But now
I want to point out that this week Demon Hunter got 2 bans, and last week, 2 weeks ago, the first week of Hero, Shaman got 2 bans. So it's kind of funny that they flip flop there. They almost like mirrored each other.
Yeah, they're almost exactly the same in total bans, but everybody was bringing Demon Hunter last week, so it still has a higher overall population, just barely.
Yeah, just barely.
But without further ado, we will jump into the actual hero matches themselves. What we have for you first is the Orange Conference. You'll notice ATL's logo there in the top left. We're going to have team logos for each team that is leading their conference. And guys, be honest with me. Did anyone see this coming? After 2 weeks, ATL is leading what was supposedly going to be the hardest conference in Hero.
Yeah. Have you seen ATL? Have you seen their 3 seed? Disgusting. All right. Great. Shut up. That was the point, Lotus.
I gotta tell you, Ron. I thought ATL was going to be good off the bat this season. I did not think that they were going to be leading the Orange Conference, especially in a division that boasts both a Gungan Among Us, or a Gungan Us Among, and Servants of Yogg Saron. I thought those 2 teams were going to be clear favorites in it, as well as Tonk if you're Corne is very stacked as well. So I did not see ATL coming out on top of this division, but the fact that they have shows that they're resilient. I will say that after Brushy loses to me in Legacy this week, he probably will have that spark go out, and will not be able to continue playing as he is here. So he'll probably have some bleed over effect to the Hero series from Legacy this week. So with that being said, we might see ATL drop down a little bit, but very impressive where they are now.
Nice. Hey, we got a sub from Clarity. Thank you for the support, Clarity. We appreciate you. Let's talk about some of these matches. So ATL versus Tonk, if you are corny. Tonk just came out running, with a really strong performance in week 1, and then ATL just kind of beat him up. What happened here? Tuna, you played in these matches. Tell me what happened.
Yeah. So outside of that 3 seed, match, we actually we were pretty happy with how our classes lined up into their classes, and then we made a lot of good tech choices in there to be able to take a lot of these matches. A lot of them didn't come down to game 5 with the 1 seed, and the 5 seed came down to game 5. But overall, going into the week, we were pretty happy with no matter what Tonk View Corny brought, and were able to counter them. I played too early in the week to really put too much effort into it, and Turtle absolutely obliterated me.
Yeah. Well, ATL was fortunate they didn't have to rely on their 3 seed here.
Yeah, they did last week. I won us the week last week, so it feels good that last week they relied on me, and this week I could rely on them. But we're pretty happy going into the weekend, as it shows that ended up going really well in our favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Really strong start to the season, so it'll be very interesting to keep an eye on ATL to see if they can keep up this strong performance. Meanwhile, a Gungan Us Among starting off with only 9 points in their first match. They did have a bye week, so it's not like they're just, 2 weeks with 9 points after 2 games played. It's only 1 game played, so there's still a lot of room to make this up. But another kind of exciting match. This was hyped. I think both of these teams look very strong. And Servants of Yogg Saron bouncing back really well after a loss in their first week. They take an 18-9. Diamond, can you run us through this match a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So these are like what some of the same team comp of 2, 3, like 3 stack, and then the bottom. And I would say I think this is the RoboCats' first win, so go Darren the best.
Go Darren!
Nice.
But then
Obviously, the best.
starts. He got his first loss ever in Hero, 0-1. So now he's only 10-1 in Hero, which I mean that's kind of bad. Maybe he'll get MVP this season because he didn't go undefeated. Who knows how MVP will work? But
90%
then also,
win rate. Awful.
just
Awful.
seems across the board, just Scritch got swept, and close games with Avi, Adamos, Smarty B, and Molstar all went to game 5. So I think it's not over for them per se because they did have a bye, but it's definitely a rough start to the season.
Yeah, it's a good point too with how many went 5 games. So sometimes it's the nature of maybe just hero series, and oftentimes just like the overall meta of THL, where the final score might not really represent exactly how close everything was, because if a few of those game 5s had flipped the other way, we could have actually seen a totally different winner come out on top. But Servants of Yogg-Saron coming in clutch and grabbing those close games to tie up quite a few points there in the Orange Conference that will definitely be important as the season goes along.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, important to note, we just got a raid with a party of 9 from Clarity Live. Thank you so much for the
Hey.
raid and bringing those people on in here to the stream. But going back to the match, yeah, I think it's really important to note, like Diamond said, that this is a rough start for Agungan Usamung. Going 0-1 off of a bye week feels really bad from a player perspective, especially when it's a hard loss like this, 18-9. So them bouncing back from a mental perspective as well as a gameplay perspective is going to be important for them moving forward.
Yeah, looking up there, being 28 points behind already
Yeah.
just to start off the season from first place. Not what you want to see after your first week of play, but it's a long season. There's plenty of time. This team is stacked. I would not at all be surprised to see them start picking up wins and quickly. Any other
Right.
things about Orange before we move on to Purple?
I don't think so. I think we're good to move on.
All right. So next up, we have the Purple Conference. And hey, this is me and Diamond's team. Vote of some confidence leading in the standings for Purple, despite the fact that I lost to a whole bunch of tech cards from LotusKnight on stream in spectacular fashion. It was barely enough to get the victory. Diamond, I'm going to have you just talk a little bit about our team again. 14-13 over Dad Legend. Talk to me about this match.
Yeah, it was really close across the seed. So I know you had Heat Shock, lost. Actually, you had Heat Shock, all lost in game 5. I know me and Dart, I found really interesting because we had the exact same classes and the same ban. So it basically came down to game 5. I know game 4 we had a Rogue Mirror, and I got really fiesta, and I think that whoever won that won the series. And yeah, good on Jimflos and Arhat carrying us a bit, getting us across the line, staying undefeated as well in this conference. And
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
a lot of shamans, except all shamans brought, which is fun to see.
Yeah, just shaman across the board. You know, it's pretty much enemy number 1 as far as classes right now goes in Hearthstone. So you have to have a plan for shaman.
Right.
And Lotus, I'll let you brag a little bit since you of course planned it to perfection. And tell me a little bit about Dad Legend, who's sitting in second place in the conference.
And this was such a tight match. We knew it was going to be hard for both sides, that anyone can win. It's going to be about squeezing every single point we can. And this was as close to a tie as it gets without being a tie. So, well played from both sides. My match with Ron, we'll get to talk more about the stream stuff later. But my match with Ron was kind of nuts. A lot of it came down to tech cards. If you're going to let Shaman up, you're going to need to tech. You can't just leave Shaman up and think that, they just lose because Shaman's not good right now. Class is broken, you're going to need to tech.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then our next match here, we have Fair and Balanced versus Feet of Cthulhu. Leumer, talk to me a little bit about this one here.
Yeah.
What did we see for these two teams?
So we had Feet of Cthulhu pulling the exact same thing as the last conference, coming off of the bye week, I believe, right? Yeah. Coming
Yeah,
off
they
the
had a
week.
bye in week 1.
Mhm. Yeah, coming off of the bye week and ending up losing as well. However, this one was a little bit closer. 14-10 is a respectable loss. It looks like it just went wrong in a couple of different places. 3-1, 3-1, and then the 3-0 of Swash over Chewbacca is huge. With how good of a player Chewbacca is, a lot of players would have predicted that to go the other way as a sweep a lot of the time. So congratulations to Swash on that one, and that really set the pace for the match. Got fair and balanced. The 14-point victory over the feet of Cthulhu's 10. And again, it feels bad only having 10 points, but in this division, it feels a little bit better coming off the bye and seeing Tam Pam Surf Slam only at 11. That feels really good.
For sure. Also, I got to shout out Sharp here, leading the team fair and balanced 2-0 so far.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a lot more interesting of a bring too when you look at the rest of this team that Andy decided to not go Demon Hunter in week 1, staying on brand with no Demon Hunter in week 2. Although a lot of other people agreed no Demon Hunter in week 2 this time around after the nerfs. You love to see it regardless.
I think that with the only, I'm not going to say the only viable deck because we're only a little bit after the nerfs, but the only immediately noticed viable deck of Demon Hunter being the OTK Demon Hunter, it fulfills a lot smaller of a niche than Demon Hunter did before, which means that the drastic reduce in brings is completely expected.
Absolutely. Any other things to say about the purple matches before we move on to teal? Sweet. So teal, we had, wow, a 17-6. Ask HS leading in the conference in standings. We got their logo up there in the top left, and they did it in pretty spectacular fashion. Dab on them, a team that a lot of us had pegged as being an early favorite to come out of teal, but bottom of the conference right now in a 17-6 win. Ask HS over Dab on them. BrushyTuna, talk to me about this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ask HS is just killing it so far this season. Their first 3 seeds, 2-0. Their 4 seed in doubles struggling a little bit, but when you have 3 members of your team already at 2-0, you're going to bounce back pretty fast. And then Kel at 1-1, but overall, taking wins off Based and Boozosaurus and Astral Frog like that is insane. Duin's going to do what Duin does. He doesn't deserve to be in the 4. That man is a 1 seed using his PR ranking. But this is I think this is a huge win for SHS and in the Teal Conference. I think this kind of like almost solidifies them as like for sure maybe a top 2 team here in the early going. So we'll see how they continue on. But as of right now, this win for Ask HS is huge, and let's see if they can keep the hype train going.
Yeah, really incredible.
No Pro Skier is only a point behind as well in the match we're about to get into. So they are right on the heels of Ask HS, which is very impressive that we have 2 teams.
Almost with similar like player records. Look at that.
Yeah,
tight race. Both teams 2-0,
Very
separated by 1 point. And also, I got to point out, Leumer, I'm actually going to spare you from covering NPH versus transfer students this week. I can't just have you talk about when your team loses every time. So, LotusKnight, tell me a little bit about NPH versus transfer students. And did you also know that NPH has not lost a regular season game since before the last season?
Wow. NPH, I mean, I'm a Skittles fan. Any team with Skittles is insane. He's one of the most underrated THL players by far, in my opinion. And yeah, this shows. I think I'm very glad to see him going 2-0, see PWE going 2-0, Pasca. Pasca is a player that does not 311 PR makes no sense. So I think NPH is going to be just a power team. Transfer students, they're a nice team, and Leumer is a great guy. And
why'd that sound like an insult, Lotus? Where you go with this?
The afterwards made it an insult.
Captain. But it's going to be rough in Hero with these two teams ahead.
Yeah, definitely Teal is looking pretty strong. Ask HS is really making a name early, and we know all about no pros here. It seems every single Hero season they are out there constantly dominating in the regular season. Unfortunately, have not found a playoff win yet, but I think this season is the season for them. They're getting a playoff win. I think that's coming. And
Ron, let me
go ahead.
let me paint you a quick picture.
Ooh, I
Look
like
at all
pictures.
of the bands on the side of no pros here.
Hmm.
Is it
Shame.
coincidence? Is it coincidence that a team with a lot of talent bans the high rolling class and then performs well?
Yep, very
I
smart.
don't think so.
Just
I
go
think
ahead
that
and
if
ban
they
that shaman.
continue to do that, then they will, on skill alone, be in a very good position to win the playoffs this season.
I can see that happening. And also, I love Lotus's point about Skittles. You can't overlook Agent PWE and Pasca being so good on this team. It's just an absurd, like, really strong team every
Yep.
season. I'm a big Skittles fan myself. I mean, I wouldn't have a Legacy Championship if it wasn't for him being my captain. So shout out to Skittles. He's a good dude and a really good player.
Pasca and I also played on the day of the nerfs, a couple hours after the patch. So we were doing some real spicy stuff.
That's
And
when
it
I
ended
played
up
mine too.
going
True, yeah. That's
2-0
pretty awesome.
the way of Pasca with Shaman, and I realized, oh, I probably should have banned Shaman. And then I brought it back with Warrior to get at least the next two games. But yeah, I definitely would have banned Shaman if I thought that it was going to be as incredibly oppressive as it was.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Hey, Sage with a sub. I'm not reading that though. Tuna
I'll
will.
read it.
Yeah. I know.
Rockfall, Mexico. Thanks,
There it is.
Sage, for the sub. 4 months. Thanks. Always come back, Sage. We love you
Surprise
here,
to
kind
me
of.
was I
All
didn't
right,
think
and this is all we have for Hero for this week, unless anyone else has anything else to say. Diamond, do you have something to say
Yeah.
about this or otherwise?
I have one thing about I didn't expect because Boolean has done well in pro. I didn't expect Boolean to be that low PR for someone who's done decent in
Yeah.
pro. Like that seems like a major steal in THL.
Oh yeah, absolutely a steal.
And
I mean,
that's their PR now. They're less than 200 if you want someone who's good in pro. Yeah.
Oh wow.
do you want to know the opposite effect of that? Of someone who's done okay in or done pretty good in pro, but has too high of a PR everywhere else, or pretty bad in pro?
Does their name start with B and end with A?
No, it starts with R and ends with O.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna switch on over to the Battlegrounds series. Unfortunately, it does mean that I have BrushyTuna talking some more, but this was a fantastic week. Actually, this was the week to make playoffs, and we had some seriously clutch performances. Tuna, can you tell me a little bit about what happened? BG's season 1, week 6.
Yeah, first let's start off with For the Boys sneaking in there into playoffs. They're out of the playoff race a week ago, and here they are getting in there at the last second. You know, huge shout out to Dabs coming in there with a first and a fourth to win the second lobby there for them. As well as German Chef getting 13 points with that first, that seventh in that first lobby A. So that really helped For the Boys secure it in there because Diamond really didn't help his team there, but he got carried. He got his team, helped his team get in the playoffs. So huge shout out For the Boys for sneaking in there last second. But the one story I do want to talk about is about my great buddy. I'm not going to say the other word, and Ron knows which one I'm talking about. The Big Ted coming in, subbing in for Meat Stack with their playoff lives on the line. Subs in for Scritch. If Ron ever wants to go to the blue lobby.
There we go. It's up now.
Comes in, gets a third place in the first lobby, and then a first place in the second lobby for 17 points for a last-second sub. I think Ted confirmed he was playing an hour to an hour and a half before the lobby there on that Friday. So huge shout out to Ted securing that Meat Stack playoff. So.
Yeah, they squeaked in by 6 points over Party Rockers, and they did it with Super Sub the Big Ted grabbing 17 to get there.
Also, it's important to note that I'm the captain of the Party Rockers. so I might be a little biased.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, we performed very well this season, and we just had the worst week this week. If you look at our results, we got Jester and Dragon Rider in the bottom 3 of the lobby, with a third place from Jester, which was really, really good. Or rather, a 4th place from Jester, which was really, really good. But then 8th place, and Dragon Rider got 7th, 4th, which was just not enough to push us into the playoff contention, especially when you look down a little bit further and see Bach for
Wait,
Life and JR.
Did each one of your members on your team get a 4th place in one of the lobbies?
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them got a 4th.
And it was the highest
one
finish.
Of them,
it was the highest finish
yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
It was 4th place.
Yeah, just think about
So,
that. If you
we
would have had a 3rd
completely-
and a 2nd snuck in there somewhere, you would have knocked Meatstack out of it, and
Yep,
you would have been that final
we
seed. But
completely collapsed in the very last week of competition
Yeah.
for us, as it ended up being. But that is okay. Congratulations to Meatstack and for the boys. They did really, really well to take advantage of our misstep.
But also, huge shout out to Bob's Bounty Hunters and Concede Your Match. Getting that first week bye for playoffs here for BGs when our alpha season here. So huge shout out to them, doing fantastic. I mean, I'm just gonna shout out all the players: Andrasti, Happa Bear, Pocky, Jump Float from Bob's Bounty Hunters, and then Concede Your Match with your Mumked, AGPWE, Lil Nako, and the letter W, just absolutely crushing it. And so congrats to them for just destroying the field, especially Bob's Bounty Hunters, who led by 40 points.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, 41
these two
points.
teams just were completely dominating all season long in BGs. Phantom Force kind of closed the gap a little bit on Concede Your Match, but Bob's Bounty Hunters was like the untouchable #1.
I mean, they just were placing, from what I saw, like they constantly had 1st places, 2nd places, 3rd places. Like they were constantly in the top 4 in just about every lobby they played in this series. So they really did their homework, really went out there and did their absolute best. I don't think you could ask for much more from that team.
Yeah, and unfortunately for our red lobby, it did contain all the teams that got bounced from the playoffs. There were just too much in the green and blue for red to make any difference. But shout out nonetheless to Itachi taking a 3rd and a 1st and getting 17 points and washing the wind with a double first for 20 points.
That's crazy.
What a way to close the season.
There's only been a couple of those this season. Because I know Reggie FBM2 got one last week. And I think
with the double Galakron, I think I heard.
Incredibly rare.
Yeah. Little Rag Raiders, Watching the Wind just needs some more help from Reverb, and it's me, Mike V, and they possibly also could have snuck in there instead of Meatstack too. I mean, they were only 13 points behind them, so 2 weeks with better finishes, and they could have possibly been in there.
Oh, and to confirm also the rumors floated by chat, it is true. Super Sub the Big Ted is filling in for Boozosaurus in the playoffs. So all you BG's players, look out. This man is on a mission.
He's coming for it. He's also been training with the community BG champion the past 2 days. So he's gonna be a scary threat for the playoffs.
That's right. Playoffs? We talking playoffs?
For Meatstack. So you got the Big Ted in your lobby. Watch out.
Yep.
He's big, and he's Ted.
And with that, it is break time. You guys know that we always look for your support. We appreciate you tuning into the channel, and we got a little bit of a quick fire ad for you. So without further ado, hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you subscribed to Team Hearth Legends yet? No? Then make today the day to be a legend yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe to our channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends. Check out the THL POW podcast for power rankings for all series wherever you find your podcasts. The true Hearth Legends himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search Team Hearth Legends to catch everything previously recorded. You're, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth Legends, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all of you who are THL fanatics out there, there are THL shows every single day of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some amazing Hearthstone related content. Now back to the good part.
I thought that was the
I
good
think
part.
that was the good part. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the good
The
part.
part I tune in for every week.
The good
Yeah.
part's when you hear about your team.
Nah, I'm only in to see how fast you say this. That's all I care about.
We're just gonna gradually increase speed until
yeah.
it like
Yeah.
loops back, and we hear them at 2 separate times,
I-
like
Yeah.
killing each other.
I
Ron just
encourage
breaks
all
the
of our
sound
viewers
barrier.
to watch that portion of the show at 5 times speed. All right, and now we are moving on to, of course, our wild teams. Mike V unfortunately was not able to join us tonight, so Diamond is going to run us through a little bit of a preview on our wild teams. Let's move these teams up onto the screen, and we are going to start with the Green Conference. This series is not underway as of yet. Well, it just
It is.
started, but we
It
don't
is.
actually have matches played to report on just yet for you, as far as a weekly recap, which we will get into in our next show. But Diamond, talk to me about the teams in the Green Conference. We've got their logos here up on the screen. What are we thinking about this Wild Series coming up?
All right, so I'm going to read what I've been given. As what I know, absolutely personally, is F2L is they won last season, and they did lose their top player, but they brought back another top player. So obviously, a favorite to return. Also, just in general, Wild has the best logos by far.
It's so good.
I think just even on display now, like Hair Club is like
exceptional.
I'm pretty sure that's Concerned Mom's head.
From this moment forward, we just judge on logos. We don't talk about any players whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
I'm gonna have to put F2L dead last then. Sorry, F2L. Every other logo is way cooler.
You just
You
got the
might be the
lamest
favorite
logo
in
green.
actually playing the games, but everybody else has got you beat logo wise.
Yeah, so Hair Club has even on the reveal stream they refer to as Tempestorm and friends. So they have Concerned Mom, Keith, and White Delight who usually play memes, but they could come up with other stuff as well. And then Burnt is a friend of everyone's, known for playing a lot of Fianna Combo Druid typically. And Otter's lowercase O is a grinder, and you can find him pretty much at any rank on a given day. He can go from rank 50 to rank 1 back to top 100, and no one
What?
really knows how he does it.
That's my wild opponent. Oh.
Oh,
Good luck, Tuna.
Oh God.
So haters are like not much is known besides Yo Daddy played last season, and Heatchalk's making his debut in Wild, and I know Heatchalk's good in Standard. I don't know how he'll be in Wild, but Mage is good in Wild, so I think he'll be fine. So, and then Maiden Heaven looks really solid at the top. They have Mentalistic, who's a regular top 30 legend, and Pyrex was in TESPA finals for Standard, but that's still like a high quality player. And Snakefods was the comeback player / MVP last season, along with Nifola has done well in Wild, so they won't
And
hold
also
that
just
team
won
back.
the community championship.
And yeah, that's Snakefods is really good, and he's captaining. So, and he also has a JoJo reference as his team.
Nice.
Nice.
Anime.
Anime. And we also have WTF or Wild THL Fanatics. They've been around a bit, so they're always like relatively in playoffs. You could consider them a dark horse. Mike Lowe is back. Watch out. He took a break last season, but he's back. And then everyone on their team has been top 100 regularly, and I think they're one of the favorites going in. And I think Patches in the top right. It's basically just Dirty Mike and the boys, the standard team, but they're playing
It's this is like Dirty Mike and the boys from like 5 seasons ago.
yeah. And I'm not sure what that logo is in the
Dirty
top.
Mike Wild Division. Sorry,
Yeah.
which logo?
The top left one with the guy with the swag
Rigged
glasses.
Fair Game.
Oh, is that
Rigged
Rigged
Fair
Fair
Game.
Yeah, top left is Fair Game, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say they're good because I don't really have anything here for them. But I like the logo. Good Photoshop. Whoever made that, it's very clean.
Nice.
And that's the green.
When in doubt, compliment the logo. I like it.
As a logo maker myself, I gotta look out for these things.
Yo, speaking of logos, Diamond, does that say 22 underneath that diamond?
Yeah. When we go back to our calves, you can see the little sticky note.
And then
that
one last team, Entertainers.
Oh, Entertainers. That's the Heat Shock team. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
that
right, okay.
logo. I'm pretty sure that appears to be hand drawn. And I'm pretty sure there was a team that had a hand-drawn logo, and I think that's the one. It looks really good.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
the Dragon Scale Tamer. Yeah.
You love to see it.
Mhm.
All right, and that's what we have for green. Moving on to brown. We got all these teams here up on the screen. Look at
Wow.
these logos. Why don't you start with that one right in the middle, Diamond? Hey, loser.
Wow.
Who made that?
Logo, I made that. I made
What?
that team.
Hey.
I'm sorry, not
Wow.
the team. I made the logo. Shout out to Clarity who helped me get the -1 because I was struggling to crop it. But yeah, this is previous seasons was Power Creeps. But this is Posca's team. You know, he has a GM casually Rami. He has
why
also
not?
picked. You know why not? He also has Memnarch, who's was on the Wild Chill last season. Is also really good. They have Clone and Skittles, who we were talking about, is underrated in Standard, but he's also done well in Wild. And they have Ronnie, who's apparently a friend of Rami's from Masters Tour. Should be good because you're friends with Rami. And then
You assume so, yeah.
we have
Yeah.
Fell Screams, which was a team that was made in 48 hours, and I know teams that are made in 48 hours. They always do well. Shout out to IGN
Nice.
Hero, like 2 seasons ago. Bash Bros, last season, they're coming back once again with a melee-inspired logo. They swapped out Zeroshi with Mr. Python,
They
so
did.
we should see how that goes.
Bash
And
Bros
also,
We'll
2,
see
by
how
the
that
way.
goes.
You got
Bash
to
Bros
throw that
2,
in there.
Bash Bros 2, Electric
Electric
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo, baby.
And then let's go to the right to. I'm pretty sure this team is twitch.tv/succulent. That's the
Yes.
actual team name.
That's the
MTG
one.
Succulent. MTG Succulent.
My
Come on.
bad. My bad. But shout out to Succulent. I guess that's a good way to extend your brand. But I think
That
this
is marketing 101.
I really
Name
like
the team your Twitch stream. Marketing 101.
Yeah, I really like this team because apparently they have this person on the team named Maxi, who's the wild version of Gabby. And from what I know
Yes.
about Gabby, they're good in standard. So this team
No,
looks,
Maxi's constantly, I think, top 5 wild.
you know, I want this team to win. Also, cool logo. I like the cactus. And then we have C's are back, and you got Slad, and then the memes from Siege should be good. And also that logo is something else.
Their 5 seed's a little lacking, but the rest of the team looks great.
Are you the 5 seed?
Tuna, I'm
No.
gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you right now.
Oh, are you the 5?
There it
Do you
is.
do you want any hype for your team?
I am hyped for my team. Regardless of what BrushyTuna says, I know these guys. We dropped Sage this season. Sage was a fantastic addition, but we got Scritch. It's over. It's over. A GM? Who are they? This division is ours. No problem.
Nice.
Easy. We have a Noyo team in the top left. They have Duin and Bat that they've brought in for Mad at Arms.
Yep.
And this was the finalists from last season, so I definitely could expect them with Duin along with them to make an appearance again. Maybe winning the title, we'll see.
Seems good.
And then the last team, I think it's a new team,
That's
Scientist.
Mad Scientist, yeah.
Yeah, so they have Catharsis and Number Theory, who have all been. I think everyone's played Wild so far with this team, so should be good. Let me.
Yeah, they have
yeah.
Tomato and FBM2, who I feel like they're a little bit better than their last seasons represent them as. So
Yeah.
it should be an interesting season for them to look
Same
forward to.
goes for Number Theory. He was on my team when I Captain Wild Caverns Below. Even the season before, he was on. Oh god, what was that team called? Where the Wild Things Are. So he was good on that team. So he's definitely underrated. I think he's one of the most underrated people in Wild because he hovers around that 3 seed area. But he's really good and a really good communicator. So yeah, that's essentially the Wild.
And there you have it, your Wild Series teams. We're looking forward to recapping some of these games once they get underway. We, of course, will not have a show for you next week due to the holidays, but come January 5th, we'll be excited to be bringing you a lot in what's happened in Wild. With that said, let's move on to Legacy. So we have the Legacy meta report up for you here. This is week 1. It is not, maybe tainted by a pre-nerf set of data that that might not be quite so relevant once all the nerfs hit. This is just all post-nerf. This is what happened in Legacy Week 1. We start off with a massive amount of brings with the Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior lineup. It was also, of course, the highest brought lineup in Hero. And we have our winningest lineup, not a whole lot of sample size, down to 4 compared to 34 in frequency, but Demon Hunter, Paladin, Rogue, Warrior did have a 75% win rate. What do you guys make of this? Lotus, why don't you talk to me a little bit about this meta?
There aren't enough samples to talk about the bottom 2 lineups there, so I'll focus on the top 3. Again, we're having a rock, paper, scissors effect with Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. And then you choose between Paladin, Priest, and Demon Hunter. Whatever you feel like. That's what happened last week. A lot of Shaman bans still. It's just, you can choose to ban Shaman.
53.
A few Rogue bans, a few Warrior, but it's a brutal number of Shaman bans. But something I want to point out is Shaman had a 45% win rate. So it's better than what it usually gets to an encounterable class. So for Shaman, deal with it or ban it. There's no other option. That being said, this is a good week for Paladins. I'm surprised. I thought Priest would have done better just because of that rock, paper, scissors effect. But it seems like Paladin had a great showing.
Nice. Also, Tuna, stop abusing your mod powers, timing out Diamond for a second.
I was contacted from the unknown to delete it. So I have proof. I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
I'll unban him.
I'm not
it was only 1 second. He's fine.
It's okay. He's still in place.
I will say something interesting about this to note is that the Shaman bring in Legacy is far less potent than the Shaman bring in Hero. Because Hero, if you win with Shaman, you get to high roll again, live to high roll another day. Whereas in Legacy, you win with the deck it's out. You're good to go. You won with the class, you got to win with your other 2. So I think we might want to keep an eye out to just make sure that throughout the weeks as we follow, assuming no nerfs, I think Shaman's ban rate might go down a little bit if the targets go up and are strong enough against different classes. So that'll be something to watch. I don't think that'll happen in Hero. I think it's a Legacy and Pro specific thing. So that'll be really cool to keep an eye out for.
And very interesting as well when you look at the bans. Shaman, of course, dominates in bans, but not to the extent that it did in Hero, where, in Hero, you have to be really afraid of Shaman. If it wins, it stays up, it wins again, it stays up, it wins again, and your match is over. But in Legacy, it only gets through the one time, so it's not a total disaster if you happen to lose to Shaman once. Therefore, we see some other strategies leading to other bans, such as Rogue getting 19 bans, Warrior 27, and Paladin 11. And Paladin sporting a really impressive win rate so far, as is Mage, which is strange, but that's only, 7 games, so we won't read too much into that yet.
Yeah, I think something to talk about Mage is we can't really read too much into it, but having played against it, Mage has this interesting effect that it beats 2 of the rock, paper, scissors. We talked about Paladin, Priest, and Demon Hunter. It beats Paladin and Priest pretty well. Mage has no problem against those 2 classes. Yeah, it's awful against pretty much anything else, but it can beat 2 really important classes, and that is a way you can get through. Especially in a format like Legacy, if you can bring a reliable deck that can outvalue Paladin and Priest, or that can have a good answer for those 2, that can be your outcome. And it can be a way to win.
So listen up, THL. In the dumpster fire that is Mage, there is a glimmer of hope. And it might be in the fact that it can reliably counter 2 important classes. There is a chance. I'm not a believer yet, but we will see. And with that, we'll move on to the Gold Conference. Let's look at what happened in Gold. Starting off, we've got F2L Red and Defias Brotherhood in a tie for the lead in the conference. We got both of their logos here on the screen. We chose to highlight both teams in their matches here. We, of course, cannot bring you every single game of Legacy, as there are far too many teams, so we'll be rotating through highlight matches of the week. Lotus, walk me through Defias versus Stubbs of Prey. What happened here?
Sure. Defias is showing that it's a really strong team. They managed to win, and not won. They didn't let the other team score much. If it wasn't for Comp was the only one who lost in Defias, but still, it's a 16-7. That is a brutal win. Something to look here is Defias doesn't like facing Warrior, which is quite interesting to me. They are letting Shamans, well, there weren't that many Shamans and Stubbs, but they let the Shaman through twice. They just didn't want to play against those Warriors.
Yeah, very interesting.
And
paid off too.
yeah, it paid off for them. So yeah, good job for Defias for that, and shows some interesting strategies you can play here.
Absolutely. And in the next match, F2L Red versus Pod People, 16-9, a little bit closer, probably a bit disappointing for Pod People, especially if you'll hear Steffi tell it on last night's Around the Saloon episode. BrushyTuna, why don't you tell me a little bit about this matchup?
Yeah, first I just want to say something that Sway talked about on her stream, that she was actually really, this was her first ever THL match, and Slad really helped her out and she had a great time. So shout out to just the THL community in general, welcoming new players and letting them have, or like making sure they have a good time. But outside of that, Pod People got obliterated. 16-9, almost as bad as the Defias versus Stubbs Prey match, but Pod People were able to get a little bit more points in there. 3-2 win from RDB. Maladon coming over and sweeping Zerotia over Bobson. 3-2 over Wicked Good. Starlax, the only one to win for Pod People. And then Slad winning 3-1 over Sway Bay. This is not, I don't think this is a real indication of Pod People. I mean, Pod People have been around since season 4, and they've always been fantastic. Just a rough start to the week. Maybe a little bit of different tech choices, maybe a little different bands, and they'll be back into the grind of things. But I would not count Pod People out after this. But huge shout out to F2L Red, because Pod People is always one of those teams that when you see for Legacy, you're like, oh, we're playing Pod People this week. It's gonna be a real tough week. So shout out to them for coming in and beating such a challenging opponent here in the first week of Legacy.
Yeah, and congrats to F2L Red for somehow overcoming the curse of wrong name for their color of conference here. I feel like maybe they should have just named themselves F2L Color 1 or F2L Color 2 and then changed it after they got placed into a different conference. But hey, it's not a curse so far, as they start off really strong. Any other things we want to say about Gold Conference?
This one really, really surprised me. Like this match that we're talking about, F2L Red versus Pod People, just looking straight at it, like no classes, no anything like that, I would expect Pod People to win. And then you add the layer of the classes. And you look at the classes and you're like, okay, maybe F2L Red has a chance. I think they like their spread a little bit better than Pod People. And then you open it up to the bans, and you see F2L Red banning 4 Shamans and a Demon Hunter. And you see Pod People banning 2 Rogues, 2 Shamans, and a Paladin. And I think that tells a story, considering F2L Red brought 5 Shamans.
Well, here's the thing. As R-Hat is the rogue expert on Vicious Syndicate, if that man is choosing to ban rogue, that is the right choice. All right? So I will not fault anybody on R-Hat's team for deciding to ban rogue as
I'm not putting anyone at fault.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it makes more sense when you take all of the information after the fact. During it was anyone's game, and F2L Red came out on top this time.
It's different if you're having Paladin and Priest in your lineup. You're super vulnerable to Rogue, so you definitely don't want to see that Rogue. It's just a really good class against you.
Yeah, and chat wants to know, is Gold the free conference? Well, good news, chat. All of the conferences are free.
Yeah, there's no buy-in entry. So.
No buy-in for THL.
You just got to have the clout enough to know a captain to get on a team.
I mean, the buy-in is spending money on your collection, but that's
there you go.
Oh, I just use Ron's account. I just log into Ron's account. There's just 2 RonMexicos running.
Hey, do not sneak zero this. Back off.
If you want to pay to play, you can always just have a sub here in the channel. And yes, I'm reusing this, but you can always sub.
Well played, Lotus. And with that, we will move on to the red conference.
Skip.
So Leumer, I'm saving one for you. I think you'll know which one I'm saving, since Tuna's been trash talking you a little bit. But before we get into our bottom match to cover, congratulations to Leumer, actually, as captain of Swallows That Follows, which is currently not only leading Legacy Red, but leading all of Legacy in points right now. And we're going to start with our highlighted match here. Dirty Mike and the boys with a dominant victory over Murgle Reborn. Diamond, why don't you tell me a little bit about this matchup here? What happened?
As a friend of Murgle Reborn, I don't know what happened to the guy. Like, he kind of got stumped. I think that actually both Hero and Legacy G-Kick has been reviewed. I think he's the only one who's won for his team. So, Kick, if you lose and everyone wins, I think you might have to think about
just tanking the season.
Yeah, but Adam, I don't know what something happened with the bands. It seems, but
well, that looks like a DQ.
Oh, no, it was a DQ. There was they tried to reschedule multiple times and it just didn't work out. So,
yeah, so an unfortunate beginner. It wouldn't have swung the overall outcome, but it could have gotten Murgle a little bit more points potentially.
Yeah,
for sure. And then Tony Montana and Dabs, I assume that was a close series going to Game 5, especially I know how high caliber Dabs is. So Tony Montana took him to 5 games and took it. Astropog versus Debs. Debs trying to make Mage work because I know that's a class he really enjoys, but didn't really work out this week, and Astropog just Astropogged. And then Lefty versus Chewbacca, which in my opinion, if I saw this match, I thought Chewbacca had this one because Chewbacca's been grinding a lot recently. So maybe something happened, I don't know, but 3-1 to Lefty, so props to him.
Well, I mean, I can tell you. I mean, we LotusKnight Lefty's list. That's so.
Gotcha.
As a forever member of Dirty Mike and the boys, I tend to hop in over there and support the boys.
All right, and now here it is, the moment some of you have been waiting for.
Listen, you better talk about the 2-seed match too. That's all I'm saying.
Sir Finley Squires versus Prep is for Rogues. Leumer, all right, man. Go ahead.
Let us have it. Come on, buds.
The plan is simple. Sir Finley Squires took down Prep is for Rogue 14-9 this week. It's expected. I'm going to say it. Prep is for Rogues. Overhyped? Maybe. Sir Finley Squire took him down into the 1, 2, and 4 seed. It was a pretty close match. I'll give him that. Unfortunately, our buddies RonMexico and BrushyTuna both lost this week alongside Fuel in the 1 seed. I will say it. I think this is an upset. I think that Sir Finley Squires was not quite as hyped as Prep is for Rogues, and I think for good reason. We know the names on Prep is for Rogues. Everyone is fantastic. I don't know why they put Ron and BrushyTuna on the same team and expected anything to happen, but it's okay. It's expected, you know?
We sabotage each other easy.
The sabotage is real. And
have you seen our pro?
We'll talk about that later. And in this, again, we see a surprising lack of shaman bans to me. It makes sense when you look at the lineups and you look at all that kind of stuff. But I'd really like to know how many matches came down to shaman that didn't ban it. Because I'm assuming there's at least one in this that did. You two can confirm if I'm not correct. But I think that Sir Finley Squires having this week puts them really in the running at 17, with Swallows that follows and Dirty Mike and the boys being at 21 and 20 respectively. 17 is not far off of that mark, and I think that they are very, very competitive in the coming weeks for sure. This upcoming week, however, Brushy and I get to play a match that hopefully will be on stream. We're hoping it's going to be on stream.
We're going to try. Yeah.
We're going to attempt to get it on stream, in which I think, without a shadow of a doubt, one of us will win. I'm fairly certain.
Wow.
Don't quote me on this. And I
Genius.
don't think it's going to be the person who is on a team named after a card that is most universally used to discount the coin. That's all I'll say.
Nice. Okay. Very roundabout. I follow you.
I like it. But I just want to say about that Shaman thing, Leumer, there was only 2 matches where Shaman didn't get banned that it was brought in.
Yeah, there is.
It was only Lefty versus Shu and Ricky Webbit versus
that's more
Fuel.
than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
And
fair.
let's
Any match that Shaman is in and not banned, that is significant.
Well,
let's
that
not
person,
forget.
both those people won though. That didn't ban Shaman.
We
Yeah,
got to
they
look at
won.
that 5 seed
Yeah.
though. Let's
Kinda
shout out
crazy.
Saku.
Oh yeah,
Saku!
Our
that
man
What?
Saku
Saku victory is huge.
coming in clutch.
Saku.
My man Saku.
But that
Shout
is
out.
it for Red Conference. We're gonna move on to Silver
One
here.
quick thing before we move on.
Oh,
I
Go
just
on,
want to
Lotus.
say that
I'll go back.
Prep is going to need some more fuel if they're going to win the next matches.
Oh my
Oh!
god.
Oh, he
I
did it
should
again.
have known.
Where you at, Mr. Dave in the
Okay.
cave? You gonna
We're
take
moving
that?
on.
I need to
We're
do my
moving
fun
on.
of the week.
Oh my goodness.
We're moving on. So we got Silver Conference, and I mean,
I'm so mad.
you wouldn't know it by the name, but this team looks maybe a bit serious here. Meme Dream Team is coming in with the most points in Silver right off the bat. 19 points after 1 week, and they lead Silver Conference. And to follow up, we have your highlight matches. First up, Dad Legend versus Illidan's Death Knights. Very close one here, 15-12. LotusKnight, why don't you walk me through this one?
Sure. Dead Legend versus Illidan's Death Knight. This was a super close match, and I think the reason why we're bringing it is because it was just so tight. Both of these teams are fantastic. Dead Legend with Zabe beating Plants. JR for IDK went right back to beat Yellow Dart. Your Mumked beat Skittles 3-1. DeSharmo beat Mike V, and Mighty Biz beat Clarity in what was a super tight match, just squeezing out with those 3 points. Overall, really insane. The team that didn't ban the Shamans all the time was the one that won. So here's something for those anti-Shaman players.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes the strategy does pay off. But very tight match, an interesting contest between these two teams. I think both of them could easily be contenders. And Dad Legend, just always out there doing work, being a dangerous team to contend with. You see the name, you know you're in for it.
Listen,
Speaking
Important
of,
that JR
let me
kept
1-0. Go on. Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah,
JR's still
he's
rocking it.
undefeated.
Whoa.
yeah, JR actually finally with documented proof of beating his longtime
Yellow Dart.
rival Yellow Dart.
True.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think I owe somewhat of an official apology here to Dad Legend. I said you guys were trash last week, and you proved me wrong so far in week 1. So either keep that up or let me be right. And from Ron can tell you, you don't let Tuna be right.
Nah, double down, Tuna. Keep calling them trash. Do it.
But as of right now, just week 1. But proving me wrong so far. But we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
But talking about name recognition, these two teams that we're highlighting, Dad Legend and the other game, Hearthstone Academy, losing a close one to Flame Pimps, but Dad Legend and Hearthstone Academy were our finalists in Legacy last season, both thrown together in the same conference, and HSA reloading with almost the same team, but crucially missing Duwin. Flame Pimps, a contender for best new team name by far, taking a clutch 13-12. Let's see, Diamond, can you talk me through this match?
HSA losing? Oh my god, what happened? So let's go over this. So Based got the dub over Reggie 3-1. Ghost coming in with a big sweep over Taco Cat, and then the rest of it just fell to Flame Pimp's side with 2 3-2s and the 3 and the 4. The Diddle .tf1 with their debut match over Sharkbait with a sweep.
I love it.
I don't know how to say that name. That's probably wrong, but
That's probably right. I have no clue either.
and I think
we're gonna assume it's right until we're corrected.
And then I'm pretty sure this is the majority of the team's first match. So Goose and Boolean in Legacy, at least I'm pretty sure. I may be wrong there, but shout out to them for the victories over, and it was really close. It could have went anyway. Like if Taco Cat or Point or anyone else. Yeah.
You know, Taco Cat spelled backwards is still Taco Cat.
Wow, is that palindrome?
I hate that. I hate that palindrome.
Palindrome.
Why would you point that out?
That's awesome. I approve of that.
The question is HSA going to lose next week? I guess we'll find out tomorrow on Tavern Talk what they have to say about that.
This is true.
The other question is Taco Cat spelled backwards winning a game?
Well, Taco Cat going forwards is 0-1, but Taco Cat's going backwards. We'll find out this week, right?
I see. So they could flip it. So if they do win, then their score is the same forwards and backwards as well.
Yes.
I want Taco Cat.
Taco Cat has to go 500. Yeah. Taco Cat, you have to go 500.
And of course, there's another team we almost featured, Hot Zilfs, not being talked about here in the highlights, but 18 points in week 1, a very strong contender in the Silver Conference after 1 week. You'll be relieved to know, like I was, Hot Zilfs are in fact still in your area.
Boo! Boo! Any team with Donde on it? Boo!
And that facing Hot Zilfs next week has a bad one.
And that does it for the Legacy the Legacy series. That is. Do we have anything else that we want to say about Legacy before we move on into the Pro Meta Report?
Pro!
A lot of points this week.
Yeah.
A lot of points this week. All right, so let's move it on over to Pro. And here we have your meta report, the most common, and this is a little bit different actually. We still just have the classes up because trying to fit in like actual different archetypes would crowd the screen far too much. But we have, just as far as total class brings, Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior being the most common lineup, and the winningest lineup being Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior.
That is a mirror of the Hero Series stats.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna see these bands and like lineups pretty much almost replicate for the rest, like until something happens, until either the mid expansion set or some nerfs or some buffs. But we're definitely gonna be seeing a lot of Shaman bands. We're definitely gonna be seeing a lot of Rogue bands, a lot of Paladin bands, and there's always gonna be those hate bands on Ron's favorite class. So Priest.
Excuse me? Oh. I see what you did there. So, we got like 36 Shaman bands here.
Yeah.
Or is that 38?
38. That says 8, Ron, but that's okay. You'll get there. You'll get there, bud.
I'm going to check my eyes. All right,
I do have to say, I think Shaman has the lowest win rate in Pro of all the series so far.
Well, it makes a lot of sense that you would either ban it or target it. There are quite a few target Shaman lineups, especially in a Conquest type format. But I mean, it is a little bit surprising to see Shaman down here at 43% win rate, but it was the most banned by far. So if you figure that people that weren't planning to beat Shaman didn't ban Shaman, that win rate probably goes up substantially.
Yeah, Shaman actually also has somewhat of an advantage in an open deck list series because you can see what text they brought. So you can see if they have the weapon hate for it, and that can dictate your play with Evolved Shaman pretty consistently. So it's more surprising to me that the statistics are as low as they are. But what Ron
I mean, if you know they have it or not, you still jam the weapon on turn 5, and you're like, please don't have Sticky Finger. Oh, no, we had it. Oh.
The other thing about target Shaman lineups in open decklist formats is you really get to know like how those early turns of that Shaman's going to play out, right? Because there's so many different versions of Shaman for the first, like specifically like 1 through 3 turns.
True.
Are they more the aggressive version? Are they more like the novice engineer version? Or like, are they the Farsight version? Like, so a lot of that comes into play too, that you can better equip yourself for at least the first couple of turns to be able to like try to stave off that early board. So that way that Sticky Fingers doesn't come, or the Fog Spine Knuckles doesn't come down turn 5 and just completely blow you out of the game. So there's that also goes into these open decklist ones where it's like, do you think you're going to get attacked by 1/3 on turn 1 or something like that? So, with these open,
good point.
Yeah. So it also shows you in the mirror if they got like the Harrison Jones or all kinds of other stuff. So that makes sense that they do have kind of a lower win rate here. It's just you're able to play around the 8 to 10 like flex cards in Shaman a lot better than what you can in Legacy and Hero. So a lot of this makes sense.
There's your lineup data, and now let's dive into the matches themselves. Once again, Pro is too big to cover each match played, so we have a few that were highlighted for you. First, from the Black Conference, and we actually have 2 teams up at the very top that put up, 20-point weeks, like the full 23 that you get from the win bonus with Cirque to Soul Fragment and Aeon. Oh, wow. Just not a single player on either of these teams lost, and they lead the Black Conference here. Not the teams that we were expecting to be in the lead after week one. I'm going to turn to my resident Donde hater, BrushyTuna, to talk me through Aeon versus Glakgora.
But first, I want to say I shouted out Cirque du Soul Fragment last week on Saloon, saying that they're actually a scary runner for Black. So that is on there. You can clip me. I did say Diamond shaking his head like crazy. So I know Diamond. So I know you guys can't see it, but I know Diamond knows what I'm talking about. I did shout them out last week. I said that they were going to be a scary runner for this upcoming pro season. But one team that I didn't expect to do so well, mainly because I hate their 3 seeds, is Aeon. But Aeon does this. I'm going to be honest. Aeon does this in a lot of pro seasons so far, where they'll start off super, super strong. They'll come out the gate. They'll start wrecking teams. And then they start getting closer to those playoffs, and Aeon starts going down the drain. So that's not what you're going to say. But again, this match, I mean, a lot of these matches were still close in this Aeon versus Glakgora match. I mean, there's 3 3-2s. So, I mean, that came down to possibly just a coin flip. And I also love the bans across the board here and the class choice brought across the 2 matches here, or the 2 teams here. It's just a whole plethora of just random, not like, obviously Shaman's in there as a perfect like little triangle here for Aeon. But, but you know, there's the bans were crazy, the classes were crazy. So maybe Aeon just prepped a little better. Like each one of them maybe had a better read into their opponents and just had it this week. But I mean, overall, I guess congrats Aeon. Having a 5-0 or a 5-0 team win it's huge and hard to do. And shout out to Cirque du Soul Fragment for the same thing.
Yeah, very interesting to see a couple Hunter brings from Aeon and from, well, Glakgora brought 1, but pretty interesting. Not a class that's been brought much since it got just brutalized by the nerfs. But there are some chances, you know, if anyone was watching Snake Fods win in the community tournament over the weekend, Face Hunter might be on the upswing again.
Don't say that too loud. I think C-Max in the chat. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Really
it's certainly a solid way to answer Shaman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good against the Shaman. That's all you need in a class sometimes.
It's also pretty good in the Rogue for the same reasons.
Yep.
So, which are the top 2 classes right now post nerfs. So, yep, there's C-Mac. Did someone say Face Hunter?
And then after this match, we have the Battle of the Swagoys. Swagoi Red versus Swagoi Black. And Swagoi Red trying to prove that they were the ones that should have been named Swagoi Black, apparently, in the Black Conference. Also, I don't know why red, because the other conference is pink, but that's fine. You know, they don't need to have any kind of correct naming strategies. It worked for F2L Red. It's working for Swagoi Red. A 16-7 start. Leumer, why don't you walk me through this match?
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Swagoi Red just came out all guns blazing. 4 wins out of the 5 matches, getting really, really close to that Aeon Cirque du Soul Fragments threshold of the 5 match wins. But for now, they're tied, a 3-way tie with Hype Horizon and For the Boys as well, all having 19 points after this week. Edelweiss brought it home, quick 3-0 over Cookie Monster. Edelweiss has always been one of my favorite names in THL and has proven very, very good at the game over the weeks, which is great. Other surprises here, not that Edelweiss was a surprise. I honestly don't think I can find a huge surprise to me. These all went pretty much the way I thought they would, and I think Swagoi Red is just looking to have a stronger team setup than Swagoi Black, in my opinion.
Nice. Yeah, Swagoi Red flexing on Swagoi Black right now. And for the rest of your teams, rounding out, you know, the leaders in the conference, are defending champs, Hype Horizon. They started off not leading the conference, but a very solid chunk of points, and it is a force to be reckoned with. For the Boys was actually, I think, our leader in the regular season last season, coming in strong with a good opening point total. And then we have some disappointments, you know, the unknown 0 points. Wow. What a terrible team. Maybe because we were on a bye. Who knows? Maybe that's still going to be the point total after next week with how stacked this conference is. But we're going to hope to put up some.
Yeah, Ice Cleans. Good point, Ice Cleans. We didn't lose, but we didn't win.
Lose. That's right. Anything else to say about the last week in Black Conference before we move on to Pink?
I thought
Actually,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Doug. No, you don't.
Okay. I thought, like, I know the Edelweiss and Cookie Monster, that was a really good match. I would have expected that to maybe have gone to 5 games. I didn't expect a 3-0 there, but I think Molestar getting a 3-0, I expected. I think Molestar is really going to have, he's kind of going to stomp this season, similar to how Buck, I think, did last season, because right now I just checked, he's number 2 legend, he's chilling.
Yeah.
He's been playing the game
very
a lot.
good player. Did lose week 1 in Hero, though.
That's true.
True.
Not invincible.
I just wanted to say that a lot of people that took place in the community tournament for Standard on Saturday had terrible THL weeks.
That is a very good point. Yeah, it did not go great for a lot of us.
As like we're going through them all, and I was like noticing the players, and I was like, man, everyone who competed in that tournament on Saturday just had like some garbage like THL weeks, including myself. I went like 0-2 last week, and
I can tell you what happened.
What happened?
Maybe I was spending my whole match casing Ron's play and learning everything about him
whole time
I was casting him. Just so I could play him
Yeah, you
right
were
after.
casting like all my matches right before I had to play you, and I had the exact same lineup. That didn't feel great.
Hey, remember, in closed lists, you can scout ahead using Twitter and other means.
Solid.
Yeah. Or at twitch.tv/RonMexico.
Hey.
Wait, that's not a team name. I can't click it. I'm sorry.
All right, but we will move on to Pink Conference here. So your second conference, we have again a tie for the lead. We've got Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwich, and we have Due Process, both with 21 points to lead off. Just really... I love that name. That's amazing. They named their team Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwich.
I can't stop laughing whenever I see their logo.
That's a
or
long
their
name too. It takes up
Yeah.
the entire.
Their logo was actually so massive that we had to find a different picture, by the way, to try to make it work as a logo.
Yeah, for the reveal stream. Yeah, for the reveal stream, we had to try to find a new logo for them because the one they sent it to us was just too massive.
Yeah.
The almighty Popeye Spicy Chicken Sandwich cannot be
just a very good, very scary looking team. They had an extremely strong start. We almost featured them here as the opening match, but decided to go with Due Process because the win against a no pros here team, getting 18-8, is especially impressive. I didn't recognize a whole lot of names from the Popeyes matchup, although I'm sure they're just more like top legend players like the rest of Pro. But looking at this one here, Lotus, can you walk me through Due Process versus No Pros here and tell me a little bit about this match?
Sure. Due Process show that they're here like they were in the end of last season, not in the beginning where they were just shining. Goose knocked out Pasca 3-1, Mr. Python 3-0 against PWE. Skittles won, which I'm happy, always happy about that. 3-2 over Boolean. Dr. BOMD beating your mom cat 3-2, and Rice Bowl beating Base, which Base was the super high player. Base, she is fantastic. So I'm still expecting her to be one of the best pro players and overall THL players for another season.
Yeah, really impressive win from Rice Bowl. That's Base hanging out in the 5 seed too, which I thought would be a sneaky way to smurf, but
that's not a thing in Pro.
I mean,
seeding does not matter in Pro.
Yeah,
like let's be honest. Like, seeding does not matter in Pro. But I do know Rice Bowl is also it's super good and wild. I think they're top like 500. I'm just gonna put out a random. I know for sure they're like top 500.
Yeah, I know them more as a wild player, but obviously good in standard too.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna call him Rice Bro from now on. Yeah, Rice Bro. I hope you're in chat. That's your new name for me. I'm calling you Rice Bro.
All right, and moving on to the next match, Tuna, can you tell me a little bit about Faction versus Tap Washers? This one was super close.
Yeah, Heat Shock winning without Mage? Question mark?
What?
But you know, Harash, super good player, beating down CMAC, who's also just a super good player. Won the 5 games like I expected to. MMW.
Face Hunter, though.
I mean, it is CMAC. You expect Control Warrior and Face Hunter, and you don't understand how the same player plays both decks. But anyways, the Shaman main didn't bring Shaman. Get out leveled, CMAC. Flying Kraken at 3-0ing MMW, I don't think anyone would ever expect that. And maybe it was just a pure outclass of Flying Kraken just guessed what MMW was going to do and just totally annihilate it. Bill Snyder with the Mage Spring here and losing it to Tonberry Blue.
Yeah, I know Tonberry Blue's another streamer and high legend player too.
This whole team is streamers.
Oh yeah, Walter Ruski. I love Walter Ruski. Oh, he's a fun streamer.
Walter Ruski, the Guinness lover, losing to Ufric there 3-1. But the question that I have really about this match is Tap Washers. I was told by your captain that you were bringing meme decks and meme decks only. What happened? You guys lied to us. I was promised meme decks the whole season. What happened? What happened, C-Mac?
They realized they're in pink, so they realized they can play.
They can play normal.
Nice. Can't believe we were lied to. And then just to round out, of course, the rest of the Pink Conference, we have F2L getting another solid point total to lead off. We've got Poem Locked and Loaded and ATK Mode actually tied each other. Both teams with a 13-13 and getting that one additional point for the tie. Really interesting match with those two and something to keep an eye on as the season goes on. And then we have our teams at the bottom trying to make up some ground. Of course, one bye week at the bottom as well. And we will see what the future brings. We won't actually get an update on this, as mentioned previously, for another couple of weeks. We are off next week for the holiday, but January 5th, we get to check in and see all the pandemonium that has happened since the final show.
If the world is still around in 2021, we will be here.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Strong.
All right, when the clock turns, it better be 2021, not 2020 part 2.
Right? Oh, man. So that is everything we have for all of the series, but we do have a few things that we want to bring you as far as highlights from the week that was. So I'm going to switch back on over to the caster screen, and Lotus has a few words for us about some highlights for matches that were on stream. For some reason, the cameras decided to just go away, but Lotus's GIF is still there.
Hell yeah! That's all. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, this was a really good week for stream.
Hey, the
a lot of matches. Just really recommend the watch of some of those matches. The first one I would recommend is Agent PWE versus Mr. Python. Was a really interesting match. It kind of showed OTKDH was probably the best deck before the nerfs.
You still there? You cut in and out a little bit for me.
Lotus? Bueller?
Night.
Bueller.
Oh, we may have lost Lotus.
No!
F in the chat for Lotus.
Well,
big.
While we're waiting, hoping for Lotus to maybe come back, I do know some of the things that he was planning on saying.
Okay,
so...
I'm back.
Oh, hey, he's back!
Resurrection!
Nice.
Okay, I'm
take it away
mobile,
then.
But I came to my computer crashed. But so OTK Demon Hunter is not as strong as it used to be because probably the best deck before. The nerfs did hurt it. Blade Dance was particularly strong there. It lost to Paladin and Rogue in this match by getting overwhelmed early. So take a look there if you want to understand kind of the weaknesses and strengths of the deck. It's just a good match to learn that.
Yeah, and speaking of this match, we actually have a highlight for you from the match itself. In this match, you may notice there was not just one Rattlegore.
His game plan, so Looks like he's gonna end up copying
many
the
could it have
Rattlegore here
been?
and relying on that, because I think at this point there's only one answer to Rattlegore, not two, and this might just be enough
One
for
Rattlegore.
I think it will be.
Mr. Python to lock up
Two
the series.
Yeah, even a brawl.
Rattlegores!
I mean, even a brawl just takes
Three
these down to at most an 8 attack minion.
Right.
Which
And that,
His
my
game plan.
friends,
So
is how you win the war.
And
looks like he's gonna
there
end
you
up
have it. A lot of
Yeah.
Rattlegores, all the Rattlegores, really.
A lot of
That just carried home the final victory for Mr. Python there. So we're hopefully gonna be able to bring you some highlights, a specific stream highlight from every week. First week is all the Rattlegores, but of course Lotus has a little bit more to say about what we saw from the streams outside of the pro match and the Rattlegore shenanigans. Take it away, Lotus.
Yeah. A few other things. The first one I want to talk is tech cards. Tech cards are just very important in some metas, and this is one of them. Choose your tech cards wisely. I recommend watching my match against Ron because that was just tech cards everywhere.
Yeah. They did come in
Some
handy.
of them are.
Ron's
They
still
did. Some cards you need to look at are Silas, Owl, and weapon removal. Just the Ooze, Harrison, Kobold trio. They can come in very handy depending on what you're facing. So that would be my note on tech cards. Yeah.
My go-to thing with tech cards. Every time you're thinking about putting a tech card in your deck for a specific matchup,
do it.
all you have to ask is, does their deck play anything that really belongs in the museum? And there's your answer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Put it put it in immediately, you'll win the match. Trust me.
The Harrison Jones.
Something else to note is a lot of matches on stream were going 3-2. In Legacy, this is coming from this rock, paper, scissors effect that we were talking about, that you have Rogue, Shaman, and Warrior in every single lineup, and those are just so much better than everything else that you're basically playing rock, paper, scissors with the other class, so you're going to end up a lot of times going into that 3-2. And you'll see this in Legacy and Pro more than in any other series.
True. And now I think we're coming to what might wind up needing its own actual segment. I'm excited. Maybe we need to do a graphic for this in the future. But the RNG card of the week. Go ahead, Lotus.
Yeah. So the idea here is to showcase a card that had beautiful RNG moment on stream. And this week it has to be Disciplinarian Gandling. It showed up twice out of Dragon Horde and out of an Evo Lackey and just crushed the match with those 4/4 students. Just a really strong card when it's not in Priest. Definitely not in Priest, when in Rogue.
Yeah. Somehow showing up in neither Priest or Warlock. Good times.
No. You just want to play it in Rogue. It's better than in anything else.
Absolutely. And that is it. That's all we have for you for tonight. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. I'll leave it to the rest of our hosts here for final words, starting off with Diamond. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I'm excited for next time we return. All the series will have started, so we get to cover everything. We'll have the BGs, whoever made the playoffs, like the finals, and we'll have the first to go wild along with the other series. And if you have any clips or you find us during the streams, either DM anyone on the stream right now, and we can showcase them. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for tuning in. And
Awesome.
everyone else.
Lemur?
Super excited to come back after we all get our fill of presents and good cheer coming up. I'm excited for my match against Tuna. Hopefully we can get that on stream for you guys.
Nice.
And
I'll
have
opt in myself.
Fun casters for it. There you go. Perfect. Other than that, yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been a very fun show tonight. I'm excited to cover every single series coming back.
Awesome. Tuna?
Yeah, actually, I want to use my time to talk about THL content for the next 2 weeks real quick. Like they've said multiple times, Hearthcenter and Saloon, or Hearthcenter and Tavern Talk will not be returning for 2 weeks. Saloon will still be coming back each Monday. For the actual matches streams, there will be nothing for Thursday and Friday of this week or next week because of the holidays. But every Saturday and Sunday are still open. as well as I think we're trying to get in talks to see if maybe if like people can randomly do Tuesdays or Wednesday like show streams next week as well, since we won't have the normal show going on that night. So if you still want to be on stream, even if it is on one of those like the Thursday or Friday where technically we're not going to stream, there still might be some people that might get your match on stream. So make sure you still hit up me, Donde, LotusKnight, and Saku are your main four. If you hit up one of us four, we'll make sure you get to the right person and make sure you get your match on stream. We love having you guys on stream. So
nice, classic Tuna. That was what I was going to say as a sign off, but well said.
Nice.
I love it. And finally, we have LotusKnight. Final words. Take it away.
My final words would be: have a happy new year, everyone. Happy holidays, and yeah, come back stronger next year because it's going to be a crazy THL season, and probably right after the holidays, we're seeing Shaman Turf.
Awesome. Well, there it is. That's our show. Thank you again, THL. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy Holidays. Have a great New Year. And we will be back January 5th. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.